Rothko in Britain is an archive exhibition that celebrates the 50th anniversary of the original exhibition that took place at the Whitechapel Gallery in 1961. So it is not an exhibition about Rothko's work per se, but it looks at, in more detail, at the time that Rothko spent in Britain, starting from 1959 when he came for an informal visit, continuing to 1961 as a professional visit to have the show here, and then of course what culminated from these visits was the donation of Seagram murals to the Tate. So we're looking at all these relationships that were formed in Britain during and after Rothko's visits. The exhibition is very much materialized, as you can see around, from archive material. So we have, of course, a main work, a wonderful painting by Mark Rothko titled Light Red Over Black, which was the very first work to be purchased by the Tate collection, and in fact the very first work by Rothko to be bought by a British collection in general. So it's quite important that we have this work here, and of course we have the accompanying documentation, the archive material that narrates that acquisition. So this is the original work, but all around us are archival testimonies of the 61 exhibition at the Whitechapel and the visit in 59. So we have wonderful shots from people walking in the gallery, stopping in front of the paintings and looking at the works. We have correspondence with Brian Robertson and Rothko and all the organization of the 1961 Whitechapel exhibition inside a display case. So all the documents give us also further impetus to understand the exhibition. And of course a display case which is dedicated to the Tate material and the story, the history behind the acquisitions, the relationship that started with the Tate after the 61 exhibition. There's also a very important case, nevertheless it's the most informal, but I think it's the most telling. It's the case that is dedicated to correspondence between Rothko and the painters he met at St. Ives, including Peter Lanyon, Paul Feiler, Michael Canny, Patrick Heron, and others, but we have material from the ones I just mentioned. And these are the informal letters, the friendly encounters, the Christmas cards, the exchanges, the photographs. So these are also quite telling, because when Rothko came in 59, of course that was a period of amazing dialogue and exchange between British and American artists, and of course the question of abstraction and which part of the world was developing it in a way was very much prominent at the time. And his visit, if you want, gave further continuation to this conversation and dialogue, but in a very creative manner, I think. I wouldn't say that Rothko's visit in Cornwall changed the scene there, neither changed Rothko's work, because all the artists were established and very dedicated to the work. But what it added, it added this, as I said, establishment of this conversation that was going on, and the friendships that started from this visit. So after this, I think the relationship between Rothko and Britain became more professional. So the 61 exhibition Brian Robertson curated, which started from MoMA. So it started from MoMA in 1960, was the first major show of Rothko in New York as well, a show that he was extremely proud of and nervous about. But it then came to the Whitechapel, where Rothko was very involved. He traveled with boat over the Atlantic to come here, be involved, give precise instructions how he wanted the works to be hung, to be lit. He dialogues with Brian Robertson, and we have nice, in a way, in one of the articles that Robertson wrote much later, he recalls various moments with Rothko in the gallery, contemplating and discussing the works. So in a way, he had a much more personal involvement in the Whitechapel exhibition. And also that's what gives us wonderful archive material as well, because of it's not just the organizational papers and the exhibition organizing papers, it's also the letters he wrote to Rothko. The 61 exhibition was very important for also the visitors who saw it, because it was the first time that British audiences had the chance to view Rothko's work in such a scale, volume and number. And this is not just a speculation, because of course we know it's the first exhibition in Britain, but we had the chance to interview people who met Rothko in 61, who saw the exhibition here. For example, John Hoyland, he gave us his last interview. As you may know, he died in August. And a week before that, we interviewed John Hoyland, who said that for him and for all his fellow artists, young artists at the time, the Rothko exhibition was just an amazing revelation, but also a mystery. They didn't know how to start thinking around this particular abstraction and work. And his interview here in the gallery, you can listen to, in a way, gives it in his own words much better than I'm saying it right now. But of course, also for the general public, it was an amazingly informative exhibition, groundbreaking for them. It didn't achieve the best, the best reviews, as it happened. Some people just didn't understand it at all, but some others, like David Sylvester, wrote wonderful reviews about it. So it was important because it was the first, and I think it just opened these doors to Rothko's work in Britain.